Good morning. My name is Minh Dang, and I'm a scientist with the Department of Justice, Drug Enforcement Administration, and I serve as the chair of the Department of Justice Asian Employees Association. It is my honor to welcome our distinguished speakers, heads of DOJ components, and all of you here in the Great Hall or watching on the Justice Television Network or via the internet to the 2016 Department of Justice Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month Observance Program. To begin this program, I ask that you please rise for the presentation of colors by the McKinley Technology Education Campus Junior ROTC Color Guard, and for the playing of the National Anthem by saxophonist Samuel Goh, Senior Litigation Counsel with the Department's Civil Division. You may be seated. Please join me in a round of applause for the McKinley Technology Education Campus Junior ROTC. And our own Mr. Goh. At this time, I would like to formally welcome our distinguished speakers. First, it is my great honor to welcome our Attorney General, the Honorable Loretta E. Lynch. Welcome, Attorney Lynch. And thank you for joining us this morning. Next, we welcome Sung-Hee Suh, Deputy Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division. Welcome, Deputy Assistant Attorney Suh. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our keynote speaker, Dr. Leana S. Win, Commissioner of Health of Baltimore City. Dr. Win came to the Department of Justice. Dr. Win, welcome to the Department of Justice. We're grateful that you could join us to observe Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I would also like to acknowledge Richard Toscano, Director of the Justice Management Division's EEO staff, who will provide the program's closing remarks. The national theme for the 2016 Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is Walk Together, Embrace Differences, and Build Legacies. These imperatives serve as guiding principles to promote equal representation in the workplace and at all levels. During today's program, you'll hear from several remarkable leaders. Their commitment to equal justice and opportunity for all is unwavering and is evident in the support they provide to our local communities, federal employees, and to the nation. This morning, we're fortunate to have with us Sung-Hee Suh, Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the Criminal Division. Ms. Suh was appointed as the Deputy Assistant Attorney General in September of 2014. In this important position, she oversees the appellate, capital case, and fraud sections. Ms. Suh joined the Criminal Division following 15 years at the law firm Schulte, Roth, and Zabel, where she was a partner in the litigation, financial institutions, securities enforcement, and white-collar crime, and regulatory and compliance practice groups. Prior to joining this law firm, she served in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York from '94 to '99. While at the U.S. Attorney's Office, Ms. Suh investigated and prosecuted a wide range of crimes, including murder, drug trafficking, extortion, money laundering, and fraud. Ms. Suh is an important and valuable member of the DOJ family, and we are pleased that she could join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sung-Hee Suh, Deputy Assistant Attorney General of the Criminal Division.
Thank you, Minh. Thank you, Richard, for your wonderful organization of this amazing event. Thank you to the Attorney General for gracing us with her presence today, and for Dr. Win for agreeing to be our keynote. It's really an honor for me to be part of this program today, and it's particularly a privilege to have the opportunity to introduce our amazing boss. I actually have the privilege of having her as my boss for the second time. As Minh mentioned, I was an assistant U.S. attorney in the Eastern District of New York in the mid-90s, and later Attorney General Lynch became my United States attorney. As many of you know, she has had an amazing career. She has done it all. Graduated from Harvard College, Harvard Law School, worked as an associate at a very prestigious Wall Street firm. She had an impeccable career as an assistant U.S. attorney in Brooklyn, prosecuting narcotics, violent crime, public corruption, civil rights violations. After her first stint as United States attorney, she worked as a partner at Hogan & Lovells for 8 years before being tapped again for United States Attorney in the Eastern District of New York in 2010. And only a month after finally becoming confirmed as the 83rd Attorney General of the United States, she was hailed around the globe as the woman who took on FIFA. What most distinguishes her, in my view, however, is her lifelong and unwavering commitment, both professionally and personally, to safeguarding and vindicating the rights of all Americans. In the words of President Obama, she has spent her life fighting for fair and equal justice that is the foundation of our democracy. I can think of no better servant to be our Attorney General. As the granddaughter of a sharecropper and pastor who in the 1930s helped people move to the north to escape restrictive Jim Crow laws, of the time, and as the daughter of a fourth-generation preacher who in the 1960s opened up his North Carolina church to civil rights organizers planning sit-ins and marches around the country. This Attorney General, like all of us in this room, has not forgotten, in her words, the legacy of those whose sacrifices have made us free. Please join me in a warm welcome to the Attorney General of the United States.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Okay, that was a little quiet. You know, we do better than that in the Great Hall. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. That's a Great Hall welcome. We have guests, okay? All right, thank you so much, Sung-Hee, for that kind introduction and for your outstanding service as the Deputy Assistant Attorney General in charge of the Criminal Division. For years, Sung-Hee, though small in stature, has made mobsters tremble in her wake, and that has not changed with her service here at the department. Let me also thank Richard Toscano and your staff. Richard and his staff put together all of our special interest programs over a variety of months, and I'm so thrilled to be here to be able to celebrate this particular program, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And we do these months because we want to highlight the beauty and the uniqueness and the strength that everyone in this department brings to the venture that we all share, which is the doing of justice. And we highlight the different months so that we can take a few minutes out and celebrate the differences that make us stronger, that make us better, and that make us better servants of the American people. Let me also recognize Minh Dang. Minh, thank you so much for your exemplary service. You're the chair of the DOJ Pan Asia Employees Association and essential to planning this event, so thank you so much. And let me thank all of you for coming here today to spend a few minutes with us here in the Great Hall. And we choose the Great Hall for these events because they are special, because they are unique, and they deserve to be commemorated, as does the beauty and diversity of all of our DOJ family members. So I'm so happy to be here to be able to celebrate this particular occasion. We are celebrating the many contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the United States. And we are also here to honor the sacrifices that those groups have made for us, for our freedom, for our prosperity. We're here to recognize the obstacles to justice and equality that have marked our past, and to rededicate ourselves to dismantling the barriers that still stand in the way of a brighter future for us all. And as with so many groups, the story of Asian and Pacific Americans in the United States is the story of all of us. It's the story of perseverance in the face of extraordinary adversity. It's the story of hope in the face of deep and relentless challenge. And it's the story of great patriotism in the face of bigotry and fear. It is a story of some of the seminal achievements of our country, and we celebrate that story here today. It was Chinese immigrants who built the transcontinental railroad that linked the seas of this country together, despite dangerous conditions, unequal wages, and widespread hostility. And it was Americans of Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino, and Native Hawaiian descent who transformed Hawaii and the entire Pacific coast into one of the world's most productive agricultural regions, despite dealing every day with xenophobia, with suspicion and restrictive laws like the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. And of course, Japanese Americans fought valiantly in World War II, even though their friends and loved ones were penned in internment camps around the country. This is one of the most shameful episodes of our history. But because Asian and Pacific Americans have always recognized the suffering of other groups as linked to their own, they have also been key, instrumental, essential even, to the transformative post-war movements for civil rights, for women's rights, and for farm workers' rights. It's quite a story that they've told. It's quite a story that they have helped to write. Because Asian American and Pacific Islanders have indeed given their blood, their sweat, and their undaunted spirit to the growth and improvement of the United States. And yet, as a nation, we did far too little to celebrate and to recognize this outsized role that Pacific and Asian Americans have played in our history, which is why this month is so important. It gives us a fuller appreciation of our past, yes, but it also points us toward a better future. And when we recognize the ways in which any group, but in particular, our Asian American and Pacific Island relatives, friends, and family members were marginalized and oppressed, we are reminded of a truth that we must never forget, that discrimination has never made this country safer, and exclusion has never made it stronger. It is only by seeking to extend equal rights and all opportunities to an ever greater number of people that we have become more united, more free, more just, more truly American. And today, we pledge to continue that difficult but necessary work. Now, I have the incredibly honorable task of introducing our keynote speaker here today and welcoming her, indeed, to the Department of Justice. Our keynote speaker has dedicated her life to that cause, to expanding opportunity and improving outcomes for every individual of all backgrounds and circumstances. Dr. Leana Win was born in China and moved to the United States when she was 8 years old, settling with her parents in Southern California. I can only assume she came to the East Coast for the weather. But when she was just 18, she graduated from Cal State University with a bachelor's degree in biochemistry. So yes, join me in feeling like a slacker next to her. Dr. Win went on to Washington University in St. Louis, where she earned her medical degree. She went on to Oxford, where she was a Rhodes Scholar. And she worked here in Washington as an emergency physician and a professor at George Washington University until January of 2015, when public service called, when duty called, when this country called. And the mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake, appointed her the City Health Commissioner of Baltimore. She is in charge of the oldest health department in the United States, a department that faces challenges, that sees many issues. But she, in that role, has helped to lead Baltimore's response to the unrest that followed the death of Freddie Gray. And in the months since, she has continued to promote a range of innovative and comprehensive programs designed to serve Baltimore's most vulnerable citizens, from violence reduction initiatives to drug treatment efforts. She's an outspoken advocate of the government's obligation to help break the cycle of crime, poverty, and incarceration. It is indeed an honor to have her with us today. Although she works in the field of medicine, she dispenses justice also every day from her office in Baltimore. Ladies and gentlemen, my friends, my colleagues, please join me in welcoming Dr. Leana Win. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So I cannot believe that I have the amazing privilege and honor of addressing you today, but also to follow the Attorney General, who, when I met her this morning, I told her that I had my fangirl moment. And, my office, we watched the speech that she gave this week to defend equal rights, to defend justice, and it was so powerful. We all had tears in our eyes, and to be able to meet her and to be able to see her in action, and all of you in action, has really been incredible. So I hope you'll forgive my emotion this morning to say that I'm just such a big fan of your boss, but also someone who I greatly admire, Attorney General Loretta Lynch. Please give her a round of applause as well. And we know that it's not only her, but it's also all of you who deserve our thanks for being champions of human rights, champions of civil rights, champions of inclusion, of equity. And so I wish to thank all of you, in particular Deputy Assistant Attorney General Sung-Hee Suh and Richard Toscano and Minh Dang for all of your hard work in bringing us together today. Thank you so much. Now, I'm honored to be here with you for so many reasons, to celebrate your accomplishments of so many extraordinary public servants at the Department of Justice, to applaud your efforts for diversity and inclusion, and also to have the opportunity to meet with and speak with some outstanding leaders. But I have to say that my first thought when I was invited here was not how honored I was. My first thought was, why me? Surely you could find someone more qualified, a better speaker, a more renowned leader. I looked up this event from 2014 and saw that you had Secretary Eric Shinseki, 4-star general. How am I supposed to follow that? And I have to tell you too that growing up, my greatest fear was speaking. And I don't mean public speaking, but speaking at all. You see, I had such a severe stutter that it dominated everything that I thought about. My earliest memories in elementary school are of hiding in the janitor's closet so that I didn't have to speak to anyone during recess. I found out which words I couldn't say, and so I avoided them. For example, I never asked for a pencil, only something to write with. I never introduced myself because my name, Leana, isn't something that I could substitute. And I never made friends, not real friends, because I lived in fear and shame. And it wasn't until medical school that I sought help for my stuttering. And so for my work, leading the health department in a busy urban city, I speak a lot, and a lot of times people will say, well, I don't know that you stutter, I can't tell. But there are many days when I struggle. And there are moments when I'm invited to big events like this when I wonder, should I be here? Why me? Am I deserving? So I'm not saying all of this because I'm looking for your validation or praise. I'm saying this because so often in these great halls, in this literal great hall, we talk about people's leadership and service and accomplishments, which is great, and all of you represent so many incredible achievements, and we should celebrate them and talk about them. But your theme this year, and I commend the organizers for it, is walk together, embrace differences, build legacies. And in order to walk together, we have to be vulnerable. We have to be open to discussing not only our achievements, but also our struggles. We have to talk about not only our happy feelings when we succeed, but also our pain when we encounter hard times. That's how we can embrace our differences, because it's these very human emotions that allow us to forge our common humanity. When I was 8, you heard from the Attorney General that my parents and I immigrated from Shanghai. Life was hard, and I know there are many other immigrants in the room, so you know that maybe you'll share my story too, that my parents were both professionals in China. My mother was a professor, and my father was an engineer. They worked odd jobs in the US, in Utah, where we first landed, and then in Los Angeles, where I grew up. My mother cleaned hotel rooms, and my father delivered newspapers. We lived paycheck to paycheck and often worried about whether we would have a roof over our heads at the end of the month. And until we were granted political asylum, we worried about whether and when we would be sent back. And like many of you, I benefited from the hard work of my parents and the values that they imparted. And I feel so fortunate to have overcome the odds, to have gone to college, to graduate from California State University, and then to have gotten into medical school. But then something happened. When I was a second-year medical student, my mother called me in St. Louis to tell me that something was wrong. She was feeling tired, she was out of breath, and she had a cough that wasn't going away. She went to her doctor a couple of times, and her doctor kept on telling her that it was a cold. At that point, she had gone through her classwork to become a teacher. She was teaching second grade, and her doctor said, of course, you're around all these kids, of course you have a cold. Well, maybe it was possible for someone to have those symptoms and to have a cold, but I knew my mother. She worked hard all her life and took care of everyone else but herself. And she was someone who never complained about anything. So for her to call me thousands of miles away to tell me that something was wrong, I knew that something had to be really wrong. But my mother was afraid to speak up. She was raised in a culture where the doctor was like your parent, where if you speak up, your doctor might fire you, where you're not allowed to question your doctor, you can't challenge your doctor. And so I remember this moment really well. I was with her in the waiting room. I'd flown back to go to the doctor with her, and the doctor was telling her nothing was wrong. Maybe she was depressed. Maybe she should try some Prozac. And I told her that we had to say something, but she asked me not to speak up. And it wasn't until about a year later that she was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer that by then had metastasized to her lungs, her bones, and her brain. My mother fought her cancer for many years, and she died 6 years ago, just after her 56th birthday. And I think about her every day, and I think about, what if I insisted on speaking up? What if I insisted on overcoming whatever fear she or I may have had? And I also wonder, what did her doctor see when he saw her? Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with many amazing doctors and nurses, and I do not think for 1 second that her doctor meant to do my mother harm. In medicine, we have to learn to make a quick judgment when we walk into a patient's room. I work in the ER. When I walk into the room, I have to see, is this patient in need of my urgent attention right now? Or can I wait 10 minutes to see that trauma patient and that other patient who may be having a heart attack? But which assumptions are incorrect or even dangerous? And what is our obligation to speak up for our loved ones and for others around us? This is a tension that I feel, and I suspect it's a tension that all of us as Asian American Pacific Islanders will feel as well. This tension between embracing our identity on the one hand and reacting on the other hand to other people's perceptions of who we should be. I can't tell you how many times after I took a patient's history and performed their physical exam, patients would ask me, when is the doctor going to be coming in? As an attending physician, the most senior doctor in the ER, I'd be standing in the ambulance bay in my scrubs and long white coat, and the paramedics would walk straight to the white man in the room to give their report, and often that man is my medical student. Or when I was interviewing for my current job, I was asked in all seriousness who I was more like, Elaine Chow or Sandra Oh. How do you answer that one? And more than once, the media has written about me as Michelle Rhee Part 2. I suppose there's worse than being compared to strong, capable Asian American women of whatever political persuasion or entertainment fame. But for those of you who've been in a similar situation, you know that we all have a choice. We can be upset and raise a fuss. We can internalize the mistake and feel self-shame and self-doubt. Or we can work towards understanding our own identity and own how we wish to express that. And for me, it's taken some time to figure out my voice. The voice that comes from my struggle of not knowing, not having one for so long, of the shame and fear of the imposter syndrome, which I have to admit that I still have now, even in coming to all of you in this great hall today. And also the difficulty of the very challenging life lesson of what happens when we don't speak up. But my voice and my calling is to speak up for my patients and to speak up for my community. You know, in Baltimore, there is a neighborhood in North Baltimore called Roland Park. Have any of you know, do any of you know North Baltimore? Some of you know Baltimore well. So in Roland Park, the average life expectancy is 85 years. It rivals Japan. Just a few miles away in West Baltimore, the life expectancy is 65 years. It rivals North Korea. Public health's role in my job is to call out these inequities, to use evidence and science to make the argument that the currency of inequality is years of life. That's why we say that the opposite of poverty becomes health. We also have to use evidence and science to counter misconception and stigma, for example, about drug addiction. Science is unequivocal that treating addiction as a criminal justice issue, that treating addiction as a crime, is inhumane and unscientific and frankly ineffective. That addiction is a brain disease and that we have to treat it the same as we treat any other diseases, cancer, heart problems, diabetes. We should not be incarcerating people who have a disease, but instead we should be providing them treatment that they need. I want to give you a statistic, one more statistic. Only 11% of patients around the country with addictions are able to get the help that they need. 11%. For what other medical ailment would we find that to be acceptable? What if I told you that only 11% of patients with cancer can get chemotherapy? Only 11% of patients who need dialysis can get it. The science is also clear that people who are perpetrators of crime are also often the victims of trauma. And in fact, that our communities go through untold trauma every day. In my community, I meet children, teens, but even younger kids, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds who tell me about trauma. The trauma of being handcuffed to the school cafeteria in front of their friends and thrown into the back of a police car. The trauma of growing up so poor that they don't know whether they'll have a bed to sleep in that night. The trauma of being the only person in their household who gets up in the morning because everyone else is addicted to drugs. This is my voice, to advocate for and provide early, upstream investment in our children's health. To talk about the effects of our policies of mass arrest and incarceration that have worsened poverty and injustice, that have bred distrust and disparities, that fuel violence and trauma. And it's my voice and my job to call out that poverty is a public health issue, that violence is a public health issue, that racism is a public health issue, and that discrimination against lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgendered people is also a public health issue. Being here today with you is a great privilege and a great honor, and I'm privileged to be among other people who have overcome just tremendous difficulties and huge barriers in your lives. And I'm also honored to be among other people who have chosen a career that's hard, a career in public service. All of you had a choice. You could have chosen a path that's less demanding of your time, that is more rewarding in terms of your finances, but you chose to be here because you know that you must do the hard things, that you must speak up, that you must call out the injustices, that you must fight for the dignity and humanity of all people. And today I am here because I want to walk with you. I choose to be vulnerable with you. I embrace you as we embrace our differences and see our challenges and histories in each other, as we share pain and joy with each other. And I join you as together we build our legacies of hope, of compassion, and of service. So I go back to the questions I asked at the beginning. Should I be here? Why me? Am I deserving? And I see now that these are the wrong questions to ask. Instead, let's ask ourselves, who do I choose to be? With the privilege that I have, what will I contribute? How will I speak up? Thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Please join me in another round of applause for Dr. Win. Amazing speech. Thank you so much, Dr. Win. At this time, I'd like to invite Deputy Assistant Attorney General Suh and Dr. Win to please come forward to the center stage. To express the department's gratitude for her inspiring remarks, Deputy Assistant Attorney General Suh will now present Dr. Win with a small token of appreciation. For our program's cultural presentation, I'm pleased to present the pre-kindergarten students from the Washington Ying Public Charter School here in Washington, D.C. Ying is a Chinese immersion and international baccalaureate primary years program school, where students from the pre-kindergarten through the 5th grade receive equal instruction in Chinese and English in all core subjects. The students with us today enjoy lots of activities such as learning Chinese, singing Chinese songs, chanting rhymes, listening to, and telling Chinese stories. These pre-K students will demonstrate a challenging Chinese tongue twister, Gu Lao Tu. Translation, Old Man Mr. Gu. They will also perform the fan dance and song, Hu Gi, or Monkey Brother, and perform the unique Chinese 3.5 sentence show. Ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Ying Public Charter School. I would like to thank the Washington U Ying Public Charter School students and their beautiful cultural presentation. Great job, guys. Thank you. Please join me in another round of applause for the students and their teachers. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Toscano to the podium for closing remarks. And also would like to remind the guests that we'll have a post-program reception here in the Great Hall immediately following. Everyone can attend, including the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Minh, and good morning to all. The department's annual Asian American Pacific Islander Observance Programs is one example of the department's commitment to acknowledge the outstanding contributions of its diverse workforce. This program, along with other EEO and diversity-related programs conducted throughout the year and across DOJ components, also provides an opportunity for us to recommit ourselves to the principles of equality, fairness, and respect for all. This morning, we were very fortunate to have Attorney General Lynch, Dr. Win, and Dag Suh to participate in this important program. My thanks to each of you for your outstanding remarks, for your leaderships, and for your support of EEO. Coordinating departmental observance programs requires the hard work of many. For supporting today's program, I would like to thank the DOJ Pan Asia Employees Association, which is led by Minh Dang, Samuel Go for his playing the national anthem this morning on his saxophone, the McKinley Technology Education Campus Junior ROTC, and the amazing group of students from the Washington U Ying Public Charter School. It has been our privilege over the past couple of years to engage local schools, be it elementary school, middle school students, high school students, or college students in these programs. It's an opportunity for us to bring in these phenomenal students to learn more about the Department of Justice, the important work that we do, and hopefully one day encourage them to apply for our many jobs. So thank you again to the school that was here with us this morning. I would also like to extend a special thanks to Sylvia Price and Granette Trent of my staff for managing the department's Asian American and Pacific Islander Special Emphasis Program, including today's annual AAPI Observance Program. Before you leave today, I ask that you please complete the evaluation form that was placed in your chair. Your feedback is important. It will help my staff, along with other DOJ EEO component offices, to coordinate and develop department-wide observance programs. Please leave your completed evaluation chair in your chair, or leave it, or give it, I should say, to a member of my staff who will be in the back of the Great Hall. As Minh already mentioned, DOJ Pan Asia will host a small reception after today's program in the green room, which is to my right. They invite you to attend. This concludes our program. Please have a great day. Thank you very much.